I'm alive and well. I told you I wasn't watching NBA All-Star Weekend. I just caught the lowlights. I told you I wasn't wasting my time with that garbage. Y'all be thinking I'd be playing when I tell you that mess sucks and don't waste your time. Just sit by. I don't know what you do. You might watch a movie or you might, watch some old YouTube clips of some NBA when it mattered, some old All-Star game weekend when it mattered. Don't waste your time on this garbage. This last decade has been trash. That mess last night, I'm like, where do they give up 211 points from? How does Cat score 50 something points and doesn't be an MVP and on the losing team and you still get your butt raked out by like 20 plus points? It's embarrassing. Who the heck is allowing this mess to manifest? It's Adam Silver. You know how I feel about good old boy Adam Silver. I told you that the NBA is janky. It's a joke. I know it's fashionable. You can point the finger at LeBron, stint. Some people got some problem with Steph Curry, stint. Durant, stint. Kawhi Leonard, extent. You mention all four of those guys because I'll tell you, I'm going to do a video about that. All four of them are kind of held accountable for the demise of the NBA, if you will. Probably four of the most important players of the last decade plus. And plus, if we throw James Harden, Russell Westbrook, you know. But LeBron's because he wants everybody stacked and all play together. Curry because he shoots the ball all the time, shoot long. Everybody got to shoot the three ball. Kawhi Leonard because load management, and you forget how great he is, and he played when it felt like it. Okay, and then Durant, who wants to be treated as a superstar, top tier, etc., but wants to play with all this team and then doesn't take the criticism and all this stuff. But you're seeing it all unfold. The NBA All Star game is just a microcosm of what you see in. But I do think there's an agenda, and I do hold not David Stern, Adam Silver. Well, the ghost of David Stern and obviously Adam Silver hold him accountable because, tell you something, this is to make it look like the league is better than it's ever been. That's what's going on. They want to say, well, everybody can shoot, everybody can play. We got all these great all stars, we got all these guys. And then Dame Lillard gets the finals MVP, gets the MVP. Dame Lillard. Oh, so he won 2 events this weekend, huh? Hmm. Just kind of like the Lakers getting that banner trophy in the middle start of the season. That's Dame's chips right there. This is what's wrong with the league. You know, this is the half-hearted, no skills, nothing going on that they are tolerating. That this is what they allow. They're telling people that this is fashionable to slurp this up, to embrace this panhandling, generic, um, no type of real ball playing league. This is what they're telling them. They're telling you that this is what we got going for our product. This is as good as it gets. It's really a travesty. I can't begin enough to say how disappointing it is to watch that mess unfold. And then you got the white cat who wins the slam dunk contest again. He can't even get a 10-day contract in the league, but he can get these slam dunk. What's up with this? I mean, what kind of league do you have? It's just like just a bad joke. And that's why basketball is not even taken serious until we get to the playoffs because ain't nobody can take this mess serious. You can't take it serious. Can't even begin to wrap your arms around the half of it. It's just a bad joke. It's kind of like why don't you just start it in June and call it a day? You know, can't even get excited about it because it's just so deplorable. You know, and I don't waste my time with that mess. I told you, I'm not watching it. It's hard to watch regular season games. I mean, to be honest with you, I can watch them in spurts. Now, I'm not gonna sit here until you get off my lawn that everything was all rosy red because, well, some people don't tell you. Obviously, as great as talent was in the '70s, till they got the ABA over there with Dr. J and everybody involved, they're not happening. People was not feeling it. The '80s emerged and it brought people back. And I know Magic Bird and all that. There were other faces and places that came up big too. Problem is that was the start of the sameness. So you really have never had real parity in the league. So that's a problem. Even in the height glorious days of the 80s, which I love with teams had identity, you had no real parity. You had no real parity. And as a matter of fact, Moses Malone teaming up with Dr. J brought a title to Philly. So, but that was a different time. You only needed one big dude to blow that up. Now you need three and four and five. So that's another problem. Then in the 90s, we went to the slow ball, the 88 to 85 games, 81, 70. That's like real, just slow, put you to sleep, put you in a sleeper. So they didn't try different things. They have manipulated different ways to sell the brand of the game. And so now that's what you kind of got. You got, this is the latest thing. Like, okay, now in the OOs, we had the last of the 1-2 combination, the power teammates, but you had team ball. You had interesting runs there, but it was still predicated on a lot of what you just had too. So ones, that's when the jump shooting teams took over. That's the mark of a different era. And so now you got the influx of a bit of the jump shooters, but in all different shapes and sizes, and they're playing into it. So that's what we've had. But to answer your question with everything, it is made for crappy all star. The whole thing is just a bad joke. It's like a nightmare. They should just go ahead and get rid of it all. Put that mess at the end of the season. They should just do what the NFL does and run that thing like as a flag game or something corny. I mean, it's just bad. It's bad basketball. Bad basketball. There's no if and one and if and buts about it. You know. And I told you before, and I said it again. There is no surprises in this NBA. Everything is geared to pushing people they consider stars or whatever they start. I know there are gonna be some people that say, "Well, Dame Lillard, he's a superstar." No, he ain't. No, he ain't. He shoots a high volume amount of shots. I'm gonna put it to you like this: give me about 4 or 5 years of Trey Young and stays in the league and can stay healthy and does something. You what Dame Lillard did this weekend, Trey Young will do. They'll make it look like, hey, you know. But you look at Trey Young. Do you look at Trey Young as a superstar? Do you see him as something special? But I got it on news. I got it on accuracy. The Lakers are pursuing him in all season. They want him and AD for the future. He's gonna definitely be a cat that they want to get out of Atlanta. So even more than Murray. Hmm. So it's kind of how I look at it. You know, there's some sad state of affairs going on right now. Some really bad basketball. Bad. Brutal. Bad. So that's where it is right now. You know. So waiting to see if anybody comes through. Had to have my little rant though. Yeah. Cause it just was pretty bad. I mean, I'm looking at that score and I'm like, are you for real? And then when I saw the Dame Lillard got the MVP of it, I'm like, mm-hmm. Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. Even though it don't make sense though. Cause I mean what they're selling you on is some of the most generic jive product I've ever seen. I mean, it's just bad basketball. And not even the kind that is even worthy of pickup. I watched the old Kobe Bryant interview and he said something which was true. Is that cats play with more heart at UCLA pickup games than what you're seeing with this mess. This mess is just beneath. No, I'm a tribute to one thing. There is no NBA ambassadors. You have nobody that cares enough to tell the guys that, hey, you got to put the work in. You got to bring it. No one is bringing it. So that's a sad reality. So that's a sad truth. You know, The sad reality. Very sad. You know. Yep. So anyway, just looking for to see someone comes through wants to talk. I got that out the way. Mhm. What's up? What's up? I was waiting for someone to say something. I've been like waiting and waiting. I see heads buzzing like bees. So holla. Yeah, I just been talking about that whack All Star game, the All Star weekend, which I told you I wasn't wasting my time with. I'll give you a synopsis again. What you mean? Explain. How this call? I wasn't even talking about him. I was talking about the NBA All Star. But what's up with Shanahan? What he do? What he do? Fill me in. What he do? What he do? Oh yeah, Steve Wilkes really knew all about the overtime rules. Yeah, it's his job to tell offense to go on out there and go first. You see, you an offensive genius, Mr. Shanahan. You the one who then had two different quarterbacks in the Super Bowl the last 4 years. If I include Trey Lance, who was on the squad, yeah, you didn't had all this situation. And you too dumb to know the rules. You even had the last second chance to play to hold them off. Didn't go for a field goal, fourth down. You lost. That sounds very LeBron of him. No, that's a he's trying to shuffle the blame. I did my video and I told you what I felt, and I ain't stutter. And he's trash. The bottom line is he's supposed to be such a guru. Now imagine if Jimmy G wins that Super Bowl and Purdy wins the Super Bowl, then they won't shut up about him. As a matter of fact, he'll be the new boy wonder. He'd have 2 rings. Think about it. He'd look like a stud. And he'd have the baddest running back in the backfield. Think about it. But no, he doesn't look that bright. He didn't choke 2 fourth quarter games. Should have won that game against the Rams in the NFC Championship. Dude dropped that interception, but Jimmy G couldn't even throw his body weight. And then he got his quarterbacks knocked out in Philly and didn't even have a third string around. But he's a genius. This is what I got to hear all the time about Kyle Shanahan. So he did. But I'm going to tell you why. Because if they get stopped, that gives Mahomes more opportunity. I understand it. So I'm going to tell you something. That's why Mahomes is the baddest cat going. And let this video sets the record straight right there. Where do we start? Miami just got beat on defense, okay, against them. So that really don't count because once you pretty much can Tyreek and Waddle, yeah, And you know if you hit Tua and you make Tua have to do check downs, ain't much to him unless he can't go free. If he can't go air out, ain't much to him. So let's take that out the equation. Buffalo. Josh Allen did not pass much. Got concerned with trying to be conservative and have a balanced attack. Cost them the game. Miss on a big couple plays. Baltimore. What did Lamar Jackson do? Try to be more quarterback. Got away from what they do. Cost them the game. We get to Frisco. See, this is the Mahomes effect. You don't want to be the one who plays into the hands and then he gets on fire. So I understand why he abandoned it, because if McCaffrey doesn't have a big game or Debo gets stopped, then what? And they wanted Purdy not to be seen as a game manager. They wanted to shut up Cam Newton. Truth of the matter is Cam Newton deserves a ring because he told you. He told you. And Shannon Sharp caught all kinds of flack because he told the truth, which is you got to win the game. You got to play your best game. This is the Super Bowl. This ain't like, okay, well, you come back tomorrow and you have to play. This ain't going to be the really good game, the very good game, the kind of good game, the cute game. No, you got to win the Super Bowl by any means. So Shanahan got out coached. So, and to be honest with you, I will address it because you brought it up. No, he didn't. But he was a winner. He was a league MVP. His team only lost one game. He did not have. He had said linebacker Luke. Can't think of his name right now. That was a bad white boy too. That the linebacker they had. They weren't stacked though. So, and he had Ron Rivera for a coach. So you definitely will listen. Yeah, Kuechly was a bad white boy. Yeah, you had Ron Rivera for your coach. I mean, come on now. You see how that turned out. Come on now. Cam knew a thing or two about what it took. Purdy is not a bad quarterback. And I'll say in the really good to very good. And you have moments. But you got to play at another level to win the Super Bowl. You can't just be going through the motions. Let's not kid ourselves. That white boy shouldn't even have beaten Green Bay and shouldn't have beaten Detroit. Okay? Can we keep it 100? Well, who was Shanahan blamed then? The defense? Well, the defense was. But the thing is, the offense wasn't that pretty either. He didn't look that good against Green Bay. And he didn't look that good against Detroit. Purdy really hasn't looked that sharp in a New York minute. It's been McCaffrey carrying that butt, Debo and some other plays, and the defense been on point. Really ain't been that memorable. I'm not going to say that yet because Purdy did get to the Super Bowl, but I'm going to tell you something. If Jordan Love plays gets the over the middle, gets those things out and gets his game cleaned up, he got a chance to be. I'll tell you like this, I wouldn't be surprised in a couple of years that they don't be running in him. I'll tell you that. I might not give it to him over him right now because he had a lot of growing pains and he did get tight. Couple years from now, he gets some season, gets it going. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And he got a good chance in a couple of years. Definitely. Because I don't know what's going to happen with Purdy. But this guru who's a supposedly offensive genius, I'll make it happen again. Let's see if you play Mahomes the third time. Please don't let it happen again. But I'm glad you went in on football. I guess you didn't want to talk about that NBA All-Star Weekend because I guess I said enough about that. Yeah, he did. And I think he overstated 4 NFC Championship appearances, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 2 choke jobs in the Super Bowl, 3 kind of choke jobs. You include that one against the Rams because they could have won that game. Jimmy G did enough. He ain't selling no. See, I'm gonna tell you like I told a buddy of mine. He don't sell jerseys. He's a nice story. It's a nice story. Okay. Now, this is funny to say this. Milwaukee and Indiana are not that far away. But in NBA lore, they're far away. I mean, it's no. They want Dame because they're selling an agenda with Dame. I just got through talking about it too before you came on. Dame is being sold. You can't be Steph Curry, but you can be a forerunner for Trey Young, even though y'all both broke Steph Curry's, y'all Junior Whopper Stephs. But there's an agenda here. I like Halliburton better. And I think the Pacers could be a problem. They learn how to play some defense. But I like the way he played. But they're not gonna give it to him. I told you it's fixed. Now let me tell you a story. This was 25 years ago. Let's see, about 25, I'll say 30, 35 years ago. He wins that MVP because that's what the NBA was about. Listen, Stern was the commission. But now it's all about selling who's got a name and can sell jerseys. AE is nice, but to be a superstar, they gotta roll out the West. Save it. I don't call a guy a superstar until I see him go to another level. Now he do got some pieces, but can he beat Denver? Okay. Gotta see him take it. You wanna be see in my book, you're gonna be a superstar. I don't you gotta put the years in, you gotta put the work in. Shay's more closer to a superstar, but AE is coming. And I do like AE. I just think the supporting cast gotta be strong. If he gets something out of Gobert and them, because I like his game. I mean, he tough, but he's got to be consistent though. Got to be consistent, and he got to make a statement in the playoffs. Got to come up big. Got to come up big. You come up big, okay. Coming up big means he's got to go at least 2 rounds deep and put a spanking on somebody. That's when I will believe it. So we'll see. Because when you call somebody a superstar, they mean that's what I'm saying. You were bragging about him. I told you that Turk is soft. He had a 62 game and lost that game, and he come over. Nobody take him serious. That's why no one takes it. That's what Anthony Edwards is. That's the problem he's running against. Got old cat, got old meow and Gobert. No one takes them turkeys serious. Them some softies there. I mean, no one. That's the problem. That's what Anthony Edwards' problem is going up against. No one respects your team. They take you soft. Sorry, they do. Just saying. So very quiet. Because he is old and he know the end is near. You know, the wear and tear on his body is taking its toll. You can't be going to no 57-11 finals in a row and pound up like that and not get took down. He has nights where you'll have nights where he'll look like, but you're not gonna get that consistent. And that's the reality. That's his reality. You know, that is the reality. So, you know, it's the end is near. He ain't the only one though. He ain't the only one. But it's definitely near though. hmm what you saw 10 years ago is long gone. So, um, this is a good one. You know, for the most part, I had nothing but respect for him. He tended to be straightforward, um, kind of mild mannered, but yet straightforward. I bought his book actually. Never had it made. I love that book. Um, I think he was kind of like on the fence with Barry Bonds, and I kind of threw me for a loop because he said he was friends with Bug Selig. But I know that he can't sit up there and say that he never could sit up there and say that perceptions and reality. So that's the only thing. That's the only thing. I really ain't got nothing bad to say about Hank Aaron. I thought he was one of the greatest, and I would tell you this: underrated, underappreciated. You know, um, he went through a lot. He never really got his full due, and it's funny how it took Bonds to come along. That they hated Bonds for so many reasons, and then they wanted to give up his love. So, I mean, the only thing I could really say against John Elway is he was cocky. That's about it. And then we didn't want to play for the Colts, and but I can't really say anything else. Nothing negative to say about Willie McCovey. He was a great player. Guy was strong as an ox. You know, um, you know, heard some things about him, but great player though. I mean, I nothing that would really because he just you talking about Dwayne Wade because I see you got Wade Boggs. If you're talking about D Wade, I think I already told you about D Wade. You know, my main pet peeve with D Wade, basketball wise, was the fact that he should have gotten more money, and he sat there and let LeBron hustle him, and then he cried about it. And I said, "Look, you should have got your money." Wade Boggs. Oh, oh, Wade Boggs. Oh, whoa. The Playboy interview was everything. I mean, this cat dropped so much tea. It was hilarious. He called Jim Rice a Uncle Tom, which knocked my socks off. He had one of his mistresses. He told her what underwear to wear, what not to wear. It was crazy. I mean, that thing. If you ever find that interview, this came out in the late '80s. It was wild. Wade was wild. He was wild. That was a trip. And it's funny you mentioned it too. I got no real I got nothing bad to say about Wade Boggs. I mean, he balanced his time with Boston and the Yankees, and you know, that's what he said. That's what he said. Cause when a white dude calls you Uncle Tom, it's like, wow. He came out and said it. He said it. I was like, wow. And you know how racially charged Boston is and everything. Now, Jim Rice was a great hitter. And I remember he had that hamburger helper mustache. That thing like a hamburger helper. But I never really studied him beyond as a player. Liked him as a hitter, but I didn't really pay him no attention. Not like that. Because you gotta remember I was real young at the time. And for real. When I heard now that you want to talk about an eye opener, Wade Bars calling him Uncle Tom was like, wow. Wow. I was like, wow. Yeah, you can imagine my eyes. I wasn't expecting that. Because I used to read those interviews where people would talk. See, that's back before people were so corporate now. Now you ain't gonna get too many people come unless you get Rasheed Wallace or somebody that don't care and they know they ain't gonna never get no microphone put in front of them. But that was a different day and time. I was like, wow, wasn't expecting that. Wasn't expecting that at all. So just goes to show you. Yeah, well, that was different though, but he wasn't Jim Rice. I'm not condoning it. And I'm not saying that you because you're a better player that but it was a different thing when it came to Jim Rice. When I know about Mo Vaughn, I saw that, but Jim Rice was like a cat that played with Fred Lynn and, just didn't really understand it because I heard about Yastrzemski. Mhm. So, mhm. So Steph Curry won that shootout, but I don't know what that meant though. I don't know what that'll mean. Don't know what that'll mean. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's got to count for something. I mean, I don't understand why you might not be in everybody. I mean, he's in my top 10. Can't speak for nobody else, but for me, I mean, he changed the course of basketball. What else you want? I don't care if Isaiah Thomas was hating on him about not having him in his top two or three. I know better. I know better. And I know what he meant. You know, I know what he meant. And he changed the course of basketball. And that counts for a whole heck of a lot. Because not only does he have the rings and the success and the numbers, but he's also got, I'm not going to argue with you. I will take Curry, but I ain't going to argue with you. If Ray Allen had a beaten Lakers in 2010, I probably would agree with you. But he was streaky with that. But I like Ray a lot. I definitely got I got Curry over both of them, but Reggie's coming third. Well, probably my top five. He'd probably be fifth. I got Bird third. He ain't in my top five. He could shoot and he could play, but I never got over how that turkey when he's with Charlotte and Dave Collins was his coach. This was in the 90s. He was trying to keep his 10 points a game streak alive, and they were getting housed by the Bulls, and he up there trying to get 2 points so he can keep his 10-point streak alive. And someone was like, come on, man. It was pretty bad. It was tacky. He came up big with the Lakers too when he played in 2000, but his wife got in the way. She was crying the field, and they got his butt out of there. See, he always done some stupid stuff. So, but he could play, but he ain't in the conversation with those guys. He's not in the conversation with Clay. I got Clay Thompson over Glenn Rice. Yeah. Birds over Rice, Ray and Ridge, and of course Curry. So no, he's not in that mix. But he could shoot. He could definitely fire him up, you know. But he ended up being a guy who could have been a starter to a role player that he cheapened himself. He cheapened himself, you know. So that's just how I feel about him. I just don't put him in the same conversation with those cats. That's all. I just don't. But he could play though. It was good. He was good, but not worthy of being a dream teamer, and certainly not. You know, I pretty much liked him better than Golden State. When he was with Indiana, he was a different stage of his career, but he was, you know, he was in the really good. He had some, but I wasn't blown away by Mullen. Mm-mm. Some handles and he could move. You know, you know. Drazen would have been nice. That's a good call that you made there. He would have been nice. We just, now where he would have been with the foreign type, where he would have been with Luca, Dirk, he had some game. He played with Kenny Anderson. I mean, he had some game. He was nice. I know he would have been better than Pager, and that's saying something because Pager was considered for an MVP consideration. Drazen would have had him beat. So he would have been nice. He would have been nice. Yeah. You know, I had to put my thinking cap back on because I got to go back in time when he played. But the moments and what I caught of him, he was nice. He was nice. We just got short changed to him. That's all. Time too soon. But he was nice though. That's a good call. You know, the thing about Mason is because he dribbled, he actually had handles, and the way he played. Let me put it to you. Let me put it in perspective. How do you think he goes against Zion Williamson? Him and Zion. Think about it. Because if you think about the size, the strength, the agility, the movement, there you go. That's the best one I can put you when I mention Anthony Mason. How he would go against Zion. So depends on where he was playing though. You see, when you say dominate, how he dominate, what team is he playing for? I gotta figure it out. It wouldn't work with the Knicks now because Randall doesn't even play on the inside. Dwight, because Dwight was a better player. Zoe played harder. I like Zoe more, but Dwight was a better player. Dwight was a higher double double, and you could do more with Dwight. Zoe was a hard knocks player. Zoe was like a precursor to Bam, you know, but Zoe didn't put enough offense to my liking. His defensive tenacity, his relentlessness, his hustle, aggression, applaud him. But Dwight was a more of a natural fit. And Dwight was a great defensive player and athletic. He just didn't have a go-to shot. And he lollygagged and joked around and clowned a career that should have been. I think Dwight Howard could have been the David Robinson, almost meet Shaq of his time. For me, okay, this is tough. It's tough. Love them both, but for different ways. Olajuwon's gonna have the better, unless I include the ABA. Now, if I get to include the ABA, it's Moses. But if we go NBA to NBA, oh, interesting note about Moses Malone too. He's 35 and 36. He played all 82 games. Let they take note of that. Um, who moved me more was Moses. Ask me who was better. I give it to Olajuwon because he had the more movements and all around game and everything. But if you ask me who moved me more was Moses because Moses could do things which Elijah couldn't do. Olajuwon could beat you on the perimeter, and he had the agility, and he's one of the most athletic bigs you'll ever see ever. However, Moses, that dude could get them boards, get physical, and impose his will. I didn't see Olajuwon impose his will like that. Moses did. Told you Moses made Kareem have to bulk up 10 pounds to get on the weights. Moses was no joke. It's just that there's no romanticism for Moses because he beat your behind up. You got physical with you. And they don't like to show that. And he didn't get the opportunity to play with a lot more elite situations aside from that 8-3-6er team. So his window, but he was in finals. He was in finals. He was a leader. He was one of them league MVPs, etc. It's just that he didn't always have the pieces around him. But make no mistake about it. Kid for me, because Kid could beat you with doing once he got himself together. But he came up more bigger than CP3 too. See, they both came out. Actually, CP3 came out better with New Orleans. He just couldn't seal no deal. And then his choke job in the postseason took over. Kid came around kind of playing around, looked all right. Wasn't until he got to the Nets. That's when he got on the ball. And then he got to Dallas and he won it all. But he had better leadership qualities to me. So I got to give it to Kid. Because Kid could come back today and he'd look good in the league today. Jokic, because he got a better all around game. Moses banged him on the boards and get physical, but Jokic, come on, that guy takes you out He squares you up. He assists better. He rotates that ball better. He motions. He's got that team. He leads by example. Love Moses, but this cat's on another level, you know. And Jokic can play in different the way he plays. It would work because he's used to physical play. I think sometimes he gets bored with the NBA's because he already said that he had to go up against the rawness. So he already knows what it's like to go against a Moses. Durant, I like Neek a heck of a lot. Incredible talent. Durant's a better scorer, and he utilized more, got more out of his skill, got more out of what he was doing. I don't want to say Neek was just one dimensional, but it was kind of limiting. And actually, when he had his kid, when he went to the Boston, or one of you, that's what he played with the Clippers, and that's when you know, he came back up with scoring and everything. But Durant is one of the best fundamental offensive scoring players I've ever seen. I wish he did go crazy like me, because if he did, he'd be a 30 point a gamer, and he could. You know, you think it's scary if he really took it upon himself. I think Durant's got him beat, but I like Nick a lot because Nick is more of a personal childhood favorite. But again, it's more because the dunks dominated a lot of what he did. His athleticism. Durant get you inside and out. So, as a player, as a coach, um, he as a player, he should never take in that. Oh, okay, as a coach, I think that the Draymond thing, and I think sometimes he gets caught looking like he doesn't make adjustments for younger players. That's my pet peeve with him. He wants to be seduced by something, and it just doesn't. He doesn't make a quick snap, and it shows. But he has to make changes. They're not a good or great team, but they're good enough to be average. And let me explain. If they can get 41-41 or 46-47 wins, then he done a great job. He didn't make adjustments to implement um, rotational defense. So there's certain things that they just, Kaminga should have gotten more touch. There's just things that they don't they missed out on. And he has to pick that up as a head coach. That's my pet peeve with him. I mean, he'll definitely go down as a great coach. He's had incredible success, and he's been able to, fine tune some storms, but there's some things with him where he's left some things to be desired too. So, which Fox? De'Aaron, or are you talking about Rick? Because when you say Fox, there's two of them that come to mind. Or you could be talking about Michael J. Fox. Got to tell me which Fox you mean. I think he's still young. I think he just got a lot of growing up to do, and more of a maturation, because you got to learn how to utilize your teammates. You got to learn to utilize team ball. You got to utilize concepts. I just think it's going to be maturation. That's just a pet peeve. And some guys catch on early, some don't. I think he's got the goods, though, to be in a very good to maybe great category, but he has to keep on feeding himself mentally, and he has to keep his teammates going, and you know, just things he has to fine tune and channel. But he's also one of those guys that come along with social media, the peer pressures and everything, and it's like, okay, you want to be loved, you want to be all that, so it's like, okay, what you gonna do? So he has to be able to tune out that noise. He does that, I think he can have a great career because he has an upside. But I mean, again, he's still young. My main thing is that he just has to show maturation. So you just say, okay, well, the way we lost to Golden State, we can't let that happen again. Where do I start? No black owners. Jordan was one, that's it. Black general managers, not enough. Not black head coaches, not black CEOs, not black commissioners. A lack of respect for older African American players. Oscar Robinson, talk about it, be about it. Just an agenda that doesn't really push it. Also, merchant everything. They don't balance it out where there's still the stigma that they only want big names, big teams to win. So that is still a crying rally where everybody thinks the thing is fixed. Um, you know, what they've done with the referees, what's going on? That they still make it up as they go along. So they wanted to have Shaq, Yao, and Iverson at the same time. They used to say 5 years, but they pushed that. They make it up as they go along. But then there are some older brothers who were too black. They made them wait, like Dantley and Bob McAdoo and some others. And so they don't always play ball fairly, you know. So pet peeve with that is if you're a Hall of Famer, you're a Hall of Famer. You can get them in tomorrow, get them in. Cat who's legit shouldn't have to wait 20, 30 years. Just saying. So I don't like that. So that's one of my pet peeves. Oh, you already know the good old boy system. I mean, they act like they superior. They're the worst Hall of Fame of them all because they still actually act like they have an honor system. Like they're gonna like it means so much. You can't have no Harold Baines and some of these cats getting in, and you don't have Bonds, Clemens, and McGuire in Sosa. You know what I'm saying? You just can't. Or they want you to hold and crawl to them. That's what Ortiz got in. Eventually, if A-Rod plays the game, they may try to find a way to get him in. There's too much of a political, we're pious and righteous. They're not. That's the game they play. So I have a big time pet peeve with them. I think they're the worst of all of them. I know they are. Well, A-Rod is an actor. Okay. He's an actor. There's a reason why him and Jennifer Lopez were together. That's why they couldn't get along because too much one mirror ain't. But he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame because I mean he almost hit 700 home runs. I mean the guy had a great career. He was Golden Glove. So he should be in. I mean he should be in as quickly as Ortiz because I can tell you that A-Rod was a better player. Ortiz had a better postseason, but A-Rod was a better player. And baseball is about stats, impact. So well, they work together now. I don't know if he still hates him, but let's just say Don't turn both eyeballs. Don't look. Don't get caught looking and not sleeping on him because he will do something janky. But he did respect him enough at once upon a time because A Rod had something that he never had, and that was crossover appeal. And let me tell you something: you hang around someone that's got it rubs off on you. It's like because it's a world that it's a select world. Like Jeter was great with the Yankees, but he didn't have that kind of. A Rod was a better talent, and he was charismatic. Just the fact. So Jeter was great, but this guy was charismatic and he had it. Like he was a natural born hitter. Like, you know, he just didn't have Jeter's mindset as far as sealing the deal with winning per se. So if he'd have had that mindset, mm, A Rod had Jeter's mindset, he'd probably been the GOAT. Because if you look in the factor in the stats and the glove work, how young he was and he charismatic, he would have had it. He would have had the whole nine. So that's all I gotta say about in center field, but they always like to act like he was a second coming of Mays or something. I mean, he was nice, but and I liked Andrew Jones too. You know, I'm not gonna argue about neither one of them. I really studied their numbers to see if they're Hall of Fame worthy, but I told you before, Bonds and Clemens and McGuire and Sosa and in, I could care less who gets in. And then you can make a Sheffield argument. I don't care because those guys should be in. That's all I gotta say with that. He was, but it's because of where he played. What you said about Halliburton. I'm telling you, you can put up the same numbers as somebody else, but if you play high role and that other person plays in Rome, who you think is gonna get more attention? You playing in El Salvador, you playing in Rome, which one you think is gonna get more attention? Just how it goes. That's the sports mindset. That's how it's always been. So and that was before I was even a thought of, and it's gonna be out there. Even though they talk about social media and all that, and they got some things going with some teams. When the people care about the big cities, they still do. They always have. Who are we kidding? Joe Morgan. Joe Morgan moved me. So you know, he would be my favorite. Like the way he hit the ball, like his defense, he was big time. So Joe Morgan. Thought he was a great baseball analyst. Thought he was very knowledgeable, down to earth. He had some got roughed up by the police too at the airport. If you never read that, you should read that. But Joe Morgan, yeah, love Joe. Hmm. Oh God, Ozzie Smith probably. The Wizard of Oz was everything. Oh God, that guy. And I remember when I was younger, I went to eat at his restaurant in St. Louis, and it was made out of a glove. Ozzy was the truth. And once in a blue moon, he might hit a home run on your butt too, because I remember he did that. He came up with his bat would come up, but Ozzy did those backflips. I mean, Ozzy was. I liked Ozzy a whole lot. I mean, I like the other shortstops, but he's probably like the one that comes to mind. You know, there's a ton of them, but I mean, it's kind of like because again, there's a ton of them. Uh, I mean, told you about Frank Thomas and the Jackie Robinson quote, talking about he really didn't need him and didn't know nothing about anything. That threw me for a loop. And I heard that thing about Jim Rice. Um, Jackie, because of the time he was in, and he was a conservative, but black folks were conservative with their voting. So again, he did have to court martial Jackie Robinson with the Navy. So he went through some stuff. He went through some black stuff. He dealt with some real stuff, you know. So it's one of them things that he was trying to be a good Negro, you know. But there are some parts there that loan themselves to it. But it all comes down to how you feel about him, you know. So, you know, I'm sure there's some that I can think of, but it's one of them situations where when they played, you know, they watch what they were on their P's and Q's. Now, I will tell you this: Bob Gibson wasn't one of them. He let it be known how he felt, and um, you know, some of the cats how they were. So it all depends on who you're talking about. Hmm. You know. Well, again, but he still had to deal with some hardcore racism. You know, one of the things. This is the thing. I'm not trying to make. I'm don't make no cop no pleas. However, Jackie Robinson will get a pass from me because of what he went through. Oh yeah, Bob Gibson talk. And he threw heat, and he let it be known, and you knew what was up with that. That thing was smoking. Hmm. And I'll tell you somebody else who was too black, even though it was just mainly one episode, but it was definitely something that wasn't forgotten, was Juan Marcel. Juan Marcel took that yeah, took that bat out. Juan was no joke. Juan was a brother. I lived in Houston when that happened. He had that blood clot, and Bill Verdon, the Astros manager, and they ran him down. I was living there then. JR was a beast. But they wanted Nolan Ryan. There recently is a picture. If you go on Google, they got the number 34s in Houston. They have a picture of Nolan Ryan, Earl Campbell, and Hakeem Olajuwon. Earl's in a wheelchair now, but it's all three of them, the number 34s. And I cringe too, because I never cared for old redneck Nolan. And I wasn't blown. I mean, I went through them no hitters and won all that, but I wasn't even blown away by him as a pitcher because he's not one of my all time favorites either. So, but yeah, they want J.R. Richards too. Mm-mm. 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 What's up, Porter? What's happening? Porter, what's happening? How you doing? How you doing? Good. Yeah, well, yeah, because he wasted his time with Dan Pastorini. And they did get robbed in that game against Pittsburgh because of that catch Renfro. That was before instant replay. If you have never seen that play, Renfro caught that ball. The refs in Pittsburgh did they find this of cheating. The Steelers always were called the Steelers for a reason. See, none of these so-called dynasties in NFL didn't have any kind of without suspect calls. The Steelers had them. Cowboys have had them. So for people who look at Kansas City funny, all them teams that have been New England had them. I mean, there's always something funny going on. Carly Porter. It's okay, CP. So feel free to fire away. When someone comes through, I always welcome them with a question. So feel free. If you got any questions, feel free. We talk about sports, music, politics, race, whatever you want to talk about, movies, you know. But anyway, yeah, Earl would have been something with Moon. Because you remember, Earl came out to the Oilers when they ran. Yeah, I told you about Broadway Joe Gilliam. My mother, my aunt, and my father, my aunt all went to Tennessee State. Joe Gilliam was a big time quarterback. And Bradshaw was quoted as saying that he was surprised he got the gig because he said Joe Gilliam was better than him. He said he was stomped. So his daughter's name is Joy, Joi. She was a recording artist back in the 90s, right before you were born. I had this album by her called the Palladium Vibe. It came out in 94. It was a good album. It was a good album. Madonna liked it. She sampled it. But anyway, Joy, Joi, she was what they would call alternative R&B. You know what everyone gives names. But she predated by doing a lot of them. And she was a good artist. But that was her daddy, Joy Gilliam. So thought I'd throw a little tidbit in there. But yeah, Bradshaw didn't think he was better than Gilliam. Joe Gilliam just had them drugs, and that's the thing. And so between that and, again, you get them racist hacks any reason not to play you, they won't. But Joe Gilliam could throw that rock though. Yeah, but yet he had crossover appeal. But then I kind of like certain things about him is like, yeah, and then certain things I kind of shrug, you know. He spoke out on certain things, but then there's some other things I kind of like. So it's kind of hit and miss with him. And I think it's because again, they were bought and paid for. You gotta remember something. He wasn't the same dude once he had made his money movies. See, that's the thing. Cats that got amnesia about what they went up against to take on the establishment. But they can't sit there and tell me that Kaepernick should have lost his livelihood, you know, which he did, you know. And they when they see all the logos and the signs in the NFL, they have to give it up to Cap. I think I'll say this: Kyrie's a complicated matter for one main reason. He doesn't really play basketball. And as great as a talent as he is, we have not seen him play basketball enough. Now I agree with Kareem getting at him, which did that. But the knock against Kyrie is he doesn't stay on the court enough. See, his what he's done has bought him a pass, but my problem with Kyrie is that he doesn't stay on the court enough. I.e. get hurt or I.e. get bored. And then it kind of like snowballs into, well, I defend him against that whole thing last year, which I still do, and I will. But I have a problem with how he is on the basketball court, because on the basketball court, he really hasn't been consistent since he played with LeBron. Boston didn't work, Brooklyn didn't work, and Dallas is so that's my knock against him. If Kareem or somebody went after him based on his inconsistency playing on the court, I'm with it. But that whole thing about the Jews and that whole thing, no, I ain't got no problem with that. He ain't saying no wrong. But my problem is with him on the court. And I hate to say that. I don't consider him a bum. I just consider him an asterisk. He's a good player, not great. See, to be a bum, he has to be great. He's not considered better than Jason Tatum. So therefore he can't be. Now he can have bummy moments. He could be better, but is he better than Tatum? No. Is he gonna be a starter somewhere else? No. He's a sidekick. He ain't gonna be a bum. I gotta see where you go. He doesn't have handles and he doesn't really, he's a sidekick. I don't think so. I think Tatum is a better scorer. Tatum gives a better chance to win. Tatum is the one that they see as the leader. They don't see Jalen as the leader. I thought that for a moment, but the two halves of them combined don't show me greatness at all. Now, if you want to call Tatum a bum, I'll give you that because you're the leader of that team. You do not show it. You're inconsistent as all get out. You kind of like if I feel like it, how I seen him do that. Feel like it. I like, how do you lose three straight to Miami, and then you come back and win three, and you kind of just loaf around and get beat like that in game 7? I mean, he's a bum. I don't pay Booker no mind. I don't pay him no mind because he never gonna be the same after that choke job against Milwaukee. So why would I pay him any mind? He could have shut up his he could have shut up the haters. He didn't. And they had to go get Durant, lose their coach. The way they got whipped up on by Dallas a couple of years ago in the playoffs was embarrassing. And I know CP3 was stinking it up, but you know, so that's how I feel with that. How you think I felt? But I told you I wasn't wasting my time with that garbage. I said get on YouTube, watch all the 70s you can. Some of the 60s All-Star games was tight because that 68 to 67 to 69 are worth watching. All the 80s ones for the most part. Yep. I'd watch all that. Especially when Magic Johnson was the point guard. And then you knew a Tom Chambers or Ralph Sampson or somebody would come out of there and look like out of body and play out their mind. Those were the ones. And the 90s was tight for the most part. Yeah, I like the 90s All-Star games. I kind of fell off after the Jordan last one. All-Star games kind of, and then after that, it fell off the last 15 years for me. But the last 10 have been horrible. Like they shouldn't even have that mess on TV. So yeah, well, see, but when he did it right, it was a novelty. It wasn't like something that was expected, you know. I enjoyed it because it was still an ambassador game. Guys were still playing. It when Jordan played in '02 and Tracy McGrady threw that ball off the backboard, I was like, this changed it. It was just kind of like it became something to what you got today. So I haven't really felt those things in 15 plus years. But you know, seeing someone like Tom Chambers get the All-Star game MVP, or Randy Smith with the Buffalo Braves when I was in Buffalo as a kid back in '79 getting it, or you see Ralph Sampson getting running the court with Magic, and that's where rumors get started, and you see guys playing out their mind, and that was fun. That was fun. Marvin Gaye singing the anthem, reggae with the reggae beat, and it was in form, and Magic and were going at it. That was fun. This garbage out here now, it's depressing. Just deplorable. That's why I don't watch it and I don't support it. So don't ask me, because I'm not going to tell you no lies. All I do is catch the low lights. The low lights is edited down to about 2 or 3 minutes. I don't want to waste my time and energy wasting my time watching that garbage out there. If a cat like Cat had scored 50 points in an All-Star game 25, 30 years ago, that'd be front page news. Today, that's barely a blip. That's how pathetic the All-Star game has become. Yes, it was. Now, I'm co-signing that. In any other era, Francis and T-Mac would have gotten more love because they was hanging on the rim. They was doing their thing. But Vince Carter was on another level. And I said this about Vince. 98 to about 01, 02, you can make the case he was in the world. Shaq was running the world, but as far as basketball go, but Vince was in that circle. He was in that bubble. Vince was something else. He did have spring. Definitely got out the foot. I like Steve Franchise. Rich. I like Jay Rich. My favorite point contest is, of course, the Larry Bird one. That's the ultimate. He never even took off his jersey. Who's gonna finish in second place? That's the most gangsterous one I ever seen. The most gangsterous. What else do I gotta say? That's how it used to be too. Jay Rich was nice. He was nice. He was nice. One dimensional though, because I don't really think his game expanded, but he was nice though for what he did. But yeah, the Bird one was the best one for me. Man don't even take his jersey off. He just dished y'all. Those yeah, I think I covered that. I covered that already about my favorite B point was Bird back. Hmm. Mm. Okay. Just waiting to see if anybody comes through. Everything got quiet, so I don't know what happened. I know my screen went kind of went down. If you can hear me, let me know. I'm still here for now, so got something hit me up. Mhm. Mm. Just waiting to see if anyone's gonna say anything. So I'm gonna give it a few more minutes. I know we got kind of. I know there's been like a long delay, but everything stopped about the 3-point contest. So if you can hear me, throw something up. I'll give it a few more minutes. I'm going to do this as a courtesy, because it's kind of like downtime right now, so no one's come through. So I will be on for a couple more minutes and then I will call it a night if I don't hear anything for the next couple of minutes. It's been cool though. Sometimes these things just kind of go dead weight. So um, we'll see if anybody come through. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, we're gonna see if anyone comes through because I see more heads coming through. Come through. I don't even see the messenger thing now. It went blank. Like that, I just don't think this is gonna come through because I'm not seeing anybody. Nobody went because the things that just went kind of kaput. So I can't tell with anything. But I will definitely come back tomorrow. Appreciate everybody coming through. Appreciate the questions. Looking forward to more topics, more stories. And feel free to drop through when time permits. And peace, stay safe. Looking forward to everything. The best. May or may not come back tonight. But anyway, thanks for everybody that did stop through. Those are the questions, the best. Peace, stay warm, stay safe, be careful out there. Till next time we get you. Peace, the rest. I'm out.